Lee and Blake Lovell of Southeastern 14 here to preview Kentucky's opener against Ball State. That game will be Saturday, September the 2nd, 11 Central on the SEC Network. Kentucky, a 26.5-point favorite as we do this on Wednesday, August the 9th. Over under of 48. That makes for a projected final of 37-11 or 37-11 in Kentucky's favor. And Blake, this will be a much anticipated game. Debut of quarterback Devin Leary, the return of Liam Coen, and Kentucky, a program that a lot of folks think is primed to have a big year, maybe a top 25 finish. And it all starts with Ball State. And I really am looking forward to seeing what this offense in particular looks like for the Cats this year.
Yep. As always, we do these early just to kind of set the stage for you, and we'll give our updated thoughts as we get closer to the game. But hey, everybody's already looking ahead to game one, and this is game one for Kentucky and Ball State. And by the way, game 1 and 2 for Ball State at Kentucky, at Georgia. Quite a way to start the season there. For them, they'll probably know where they stand after those couple games. But yeah, it is a big sort of start for the new era, I guess you could say, for Kentucky with Liam Coen back in the mix and Devin Leary coming in, and a lot of explosive potential on offense, but you've also got some really good players on that defense too. And so, like you said, some people very high on the Cats entering this season. Some think that they may be the team that could potentially challenge Georgia the most in the East, but we will see how the Cats look here in game 1 against Ball State.
All right, let's go matchups of offense and defense, starting with Ball State. When it has the ball, the Cardinals last year scored 23.3 points a game. Kentucky gave up just 19.2. Turnover percentage, Ball State turned it over 2.2% of the time. That's exactly what Kentucky forced. Ball State averaged 4.9 yards per running play. Kentucky gave up 4.8, 5.3 yards per passing play for Ball State. That's terrible. Kentucky gave up 5.6. We'll go into the matchups here with some personnel, and I'll turn the floor to you for that. But this is not a Ball State offense that exactly lit the world on fire a year ago against a Kentucky program that under Mark Stoops, its bread has more often than not been buttered on defense.
Yeah, I mean, Ball State averaged 23.2 points per game, 99th nationally last season. Yeah, I mean, like you said, the yards per throw, that was kind of a glaring stat for sure on this offense. And certainly if they're going to be better there, they've got to be better at getting more of those plays down the field. And that's where they get Layne Hatcher coming in, an experienced quarterback. I think he's threw for over 10,000 yards when you consider past 4 seasons. Or is it Arkansas State and Texas State, I believe?
And started his career at Alabama.
That's right. I keep forgetting. Yeah. So, I mean, you've got someone who's got experience, right? So I mean, you look at it from that standpoint, the passing game is going to be better. Like it has to be, I think, when you add someone like that to the mix and getting more of those big plays, and they have to replace, a lot of receiving production. And that's the one thing I would probably circle for Ball State offensively heading into this one, seeing who's going to kind of stand out in that position just with this offense, kind of combining them with Hatcher. And I know Brady Hunt's someone people have talked about a lot, obviously, just what he can do at the tight end position. And then, of course, Carson Steele transfers to UCLA, but they get Marquez Cooper coming in, who I think he's ran for at least 1,200 yards and 11 touchdowns the past 2 seasons at Kent State. So, yeah, I mean, I think to say it pretty clearly, Kentucky's defense is going to be pretty good, as we talked about, what they've kind of always done there. And you've obviously got some guys on that side that with just multiple guys who can kind of be big playmakers, stop certain areas of the offense. But, you would have to think that the Ball State offense is going to be in a much better position than it was a season ago to at least try to figure out some ways to slice and dice that Kentucky team. But it will not be easy, even with some of the new guys coming in that should make this Ball State offense better.
Yeah, and also Ball State returns its center and left tackle, but not its other 3 linemen. And Kentucky, look, it was not a star-studded unit in terms of household names last year. I mean, you've had some Kentucky defenses with bigger names, but it was an effective one. They've been good for several years now. You get J.J. Weaver back, who's been there forever, Trevin Wallace, Deion Walker, who's one of the up-and-coming stars in the league, Derek Jackson. So I think it's going to be a real challenge for Ball State to move the ball against this Kentucky defense.
Yeah, I mean, they're in a better position they were a year ago to do it. Just given again, I think the influx of talent they got specifically being able to replace, like I said, quarterback, running back, two good players that are going to replace the guys that were there last season. But yeah, you still need a lot to be able to slow down this Kentucky defense that as we know can really do a lot of different things and make other offenses look silly at times based on their talent there. So.
Okay, when Kentucky's got the ball, of course, we talked about the return of coordinator Liam Coen. The backfield is going to be new. Devin Leary transfers from NC State. Ray Davis, of course, from Vanderbilt, the transfer running back. When Kentucky had the ball a year ago, it averaged 20.4 yards per game, or excuse me, 20.4 points per game. I'm going on a limb and say that improves this year. Ball State gave up 26.9. Kentucky turned it over 2.3% of its snaps. Ball State only got turnovers on 1.6% of defensive snaps per rushing play. And again, this takes sacks out of it. Kentucky ran for 4.4 yards per rushing play. Ball State gave up 4.6. Kentucky only threw it for 6.0 yards per passing play. Ball State gave up 5.6. So Ball State was actually pretty decent on defense a year ago. The entire front seven returns, but the Cardinals lost their whole secondary, which could be problematic against a Kentucky offense that's got not just Leary, but Berry and Brown, Dane Key, and a lot of weapons there in that passing game.
Well, and the thing is, you talk about, I mean, Ball State just needs to force more turnovers. Well, they had only 7 interceptions last season, I think. So you can talk about kind of them losing guys from the secondary, but whoever's stepping in has to be able to force more mistakes. And when you look at Devin Leary's numbers, I think he's thrown 16 interceptions in 4 seasons at NC State combined, that is. So, yeah, I mean, it's not easy to do. And, again, we talked about just sort of everything surrounding Devin Leary coming into Kentucky and just all the potential in the world in this offense with Liam Coen there and having Ray Davis now at running back. And, we've talked about Berry and Brown. We go up and down the line with this Kentucky offense, and it's easy to understand why people can be wowed by their potential. And so, yeah, I mean, you talk about a team, like we said, Ball State, who just did not force a lot of mistakes last season, even though they've got some solid guys, I think, up front when you look at the talent there. But man, you're going to have to really try to do some different things to slow down this Kentucky offense, because I just think they're going to come out waiting for this game. All the talk, all the stuff getting ready for game one. I mean, you think about again too with Liam Coen back in the mix and the different things they can put in throughout the course of a summer that you maybe you can look back at when he was there the first time, but these maybe are things you haven't seen from Kentucky on tape and what he can do with Devin Leary and Ray Davis and those kind of guys. So yeah, I mean, I think again, it's going to be a challenge for Ball State here, because we always say that the recipe for success in these kind of games for the big underdog is to force mistakes, is to take away those opportunities, for the other team. And I think that's going to be a hard thing to do with this Kentucky offense.
Okay, let's get to predictions. Something you said is very clearly upset Oreo, as you may be able to hear in the background.
Maybe he's not happy about something. I don't know what. Maybe he's not happy about the spread. He's trying to give you a betting pick here.
Well, I'll tell you what, maybe he shouldn't be happy about the spread because the numbers are all over the place. Vegas has got it, 28 or 26 and a half. FPI has got it at 22, and that's with the home field advantage. Same with SP Plus. They've got minus 35. Man, SP Plus and FPI have been way apart on some of these early SEC games. Don't know who's right. I'm just telling you what it is. Look, I think Kentucky wins big. I don't know that I have really an opinion on whether it's over or under that total of 26 and a half. I think there might be more points scored. That might be what I would take. Yeah, well, your thoughts here.
Well, it's something to keep in mind with Ball State. I was looking at, I mean, I think it was 8 games they had last season decided by 7 points or less. So like this was a team that felt like it was close, but again, that was against, other competition that probably was a lot more similar in terms of personnel. It does just feel like Kentucky, from this standpoint, like we said, the influx of talent, the guys that got coming back, that combination, expectations are very high. If we look at covers, which, as we always say, we're not professional bettors. We will have a betting presence here on the channel here soon, and we may talk about this game very soon as well. But it's kind of interesting here to look at, because if you look at the betting trends, which we like to look at on covers, The over is 4-0 in Ball State's last 4 games against SEC teams. And the under is 6-0 in Kentucky's last 6 home games. So, yeah, I think to me, like you said, the number is what, 26, 25 and a half, not a professional bettor, but I'm with you. I think I actually maybe like the over a little bit here, because I think there will be some points scored on the Kentucky side, and I think there is potential for Ball State. Like I said, just kind of with the new guys coming in. Although I think just seeing what happens at the wide receiver position, probably you would feel a little bit better about them. Maybe scoring several touchdowns or something here, but for now, though, I think Kentucky, as we said, the offense is good enough to put up points here, and so I'd probably be more inclined to take the over. Obviously, I'm going to take Kentucky to win the game, and yeah, I think I like points being scored here, especially looking at it from the Kentucky side. So,
Well, again, Ball State's defense wasn't bad a year ago, but I'm looking at some of the games and where it gave up the points. I
they
guess
just
the
didn't force a lot of
closest,
mistakes. I think that's what I'm looking at. Is if you just
right?
let Kentucky go up and down the field, and you're not taking the ball away. I think that's what we talked about with the secondary only having 7 interceptions. But again, it's a new season, right? Like we're just going by the stat we saw last year. They may
Yeah.
come out and force 20 interceptions this year. We don't know. So
Well, what I'm looking at more at is Tennessee beat them 59-10 in the opener a year ago. Some other games they gave up 37 to Western Michigan. Um,
but didn't give a lot up in other games. I
the
mean, they were
26 points a game isn't, or 27 points, excuse me. They gave 26.9 points. So that's not horrible. But I think that total got padded some against a pretty weak MAC. And I think I'm with you. I think the more I look at this, the over seems like it might be the play here.
yeah, we'll see. But we got previews, predictions for all these other games. Like I said, I know some people ask sometimes, why do we do these so early? We're just kind of getting you ready. Everyone's looking ahead. Like I said, we're less than a month away now. So we are putting this all together, and we'll have a lot more thoughts probably on each of these games as we get closer when we do our live streams and all that stuff here at Southeastern 14.
All right, going to preview every single SEC game for the football season. I promise you I'll talk better in these going forward. It's early morning here. Best way to get those, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button. That helps our analytics. For Blake Lovell, I'm Chris Lee. We're Southeastern 14. Thanks for watching. We'll see you soon.